So reciting from the little booklet, the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. From the heart of the saviour of the 100 deities of Dashita, on the peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit from a mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence and understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its explanations is an ear ornament of those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, light, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated. I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and riches as meaningful. By abandoning the 8 worldly concerns, Saviour, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of the Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profoundly extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigrated beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losang Dragpa's teachings to shine forever. Sashi Pogi Joshi Meto Tramri Rablishi Nihide Gampadi Sange Shinju Meteoa Yidro Kunanda Jila Chopasho. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teaching victorious one, Losang Dragpa, who had the merit to live an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the ostensive conduct of the sons of victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga, the 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnayataya. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of perfect pure father and sons, combining into one, enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening, the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, and obscurations and their imprints. Exception, my body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. So reciting the 5-line Metsema verse on bottom of page 5 3 times. Mime te we te te chen re si, dreame kempa wampo champayo, do puma lu chan san to wa dan, gan chen ke ben sung kap, lo san tra pe shabla so wad. Mime te we te te chen re si, dreame kempa wampo champayo, do puma lu chan san to wa dan, gan chen ke ben sung kap, lo san tra pe shabla so wad. Mime te we te te chen re si, dream ken po wan po chan po, do pu ma lu chan san ta wa dan, gan chen ke ben sung ka po, lo san tra pe shabla so wa. And the prayer for swift return of Kapti Lama's Open Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious one, Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge in infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teach through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teach, sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings who suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings, the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Amla Janchu Padu Dani
Dagi Chushi Yevan the Dag Drolam Benshi Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanji Chodon Sojin Chonumla Chanju Bardu Dan Capsuns Dagi Chushi Yevan the Dag Drolam Benshi Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanji Chodon Sojin Chonumla Chanju Bardu Dan Capsuns Dagi Chushi Yevan the Dag Roland Benshi Sanjin Drubar Sho Kangi Tuzi Nizone Dawa Tamje Bambicher Dambichun Denze Kodum Dela Changze Lo Namo Laye Kedan Lodano Jingi Tripon Dada Mi Kedan Lando Kunji Tanam Chuzon Tamchike Dagi Chuden To. Good morning, everyone. Nanzura Nanzu Dinko Matsuko 먼저 드라마니 사직 대바지야 디 사직 된거 스카이스나 가진 먼저 내출 찍려야 다나가 브리스번을 쉬비 캔서로 뭐지 스트레스라 공 안에 고수 대부분도 안에 맹간나와 페이지케이션스 아니 캔서로 뭐지 스트레스는 로지 인바이나 지당 넘버 3집이 템발이야 하장기 가진 친구다 학든도 최종될이야 오늘 단에게 로 접게스지 rinlaya 아니 개개나는 쇼레스 등한중 예버도 similar tango 그래서 가진 들어 안 단다콩 공로 제주 페시 how old he 86 yeah 공로 제주 자주라야 페요레스 대단한 콩고 구수 내단데 야보면서 아니 디 교훈이 뉴르도 로 아니 뉴시 텔레 차치네 아주 나신기 공기다 지 동아가 최마부 아니 비스빈 시티래야 아니 게투솔래야 난가자 티나 티마 민트니 용야치 아니 물론 먼저 물론 제 개신고리에서 먼저 근데 먼저 콘슬렌 나디 콘도인자 콘슬렌 나디 나로라야 미 페시 사야 카시 지레스 로 미사야 카시 나로라 다지 게시콘도 요마레스 다간지 공로제고 차베야고 교rum부 쇼질래야 mamangla 최나는 슝이 아니 지단이가 그슬라는 게시만부 메와스라 안 콘도 메와인자 콘도 직 아니 간주 롱바디나로야 니마직 슈바이나야 아니 롱바디 미 소놈라야 팽그레스 라 겐코랑 카페나 카슈나 케바스키 요마레스 이내야 간주 롱바디나로야 오니 콘도 미직 니마직 슈바이나야 야자자담바 펜도 요레스 인자 간주 물론 잡고 그랬어
So we would like to start off by reciting the praises to the 21 Taras, and for the purpose of helping the prayers and the conditions for a swift recovery for Geshe Tashi sitting who is currently in Brisbane, but recently was taken to hospital, because he's become slightly unwell. So Geshe Tachi Setting was a very long resident and teacher at the Chenrezig Institute for about 18 years or so. So we need to recall the kindness of Geshe Tachi Setting at this time, especially when he is showing the signs of being unwell. Yeah. So Geshe himself is actually of her older age, about 86 years or so. So physically, his body is becoming less strong and weaker, but we need to, even still, we need to pray for his quick recovery. So he was a teacher that was fully teaching and guiding us in the complete teachings of the Tsultrim Tantra of the Buddha Dharma, and his center was located in the Brisbane area. So we really do need to focus on praying and making aspirational prayers for his swift recovery. So we can think about from the perspective that in the Queensland state, there are millions, some millions of people, but among all of those people, there's only very few geshes and teachers. And then in particular, nobody exactly like Geshe Tashi setting, So we need to pray for Geshe's long life. So even if Geshe is able to remain with us for even just one day longer, then that'll be of benefit for all the beings that are in the Queensland state and so on to increase their meritorious karma or merit. So Geshe Tashi Tsering is not somebody that wishes to go here or there and visit many places, but we need to focus on praying for the swift recovery of Geshe Tashi Tsering.
Paraphrases on page 166, just once or three times?
Yes, sorry, just once, yes.
Once. Om I prostrate to the noble transcendent liberator. Homage Tara Sifteroi, Kaisa lightning instantaneous. From poem of his statements of the Lord through us Tibolo. Homage Jesus combines 100 ornaments of full, blazing with light rays resplendent as 1,000 star collect. Homage God in blue on lotus, water born in hand adorned, giving effort calm austerities, patience meditation hers. Homage granitatic artist, actions triumph without limit. Red among conquers children, having reached every perfection. Homage for limited tare, hundreds are direction ends. Tramping with their feet the seven worlds, able to drop off all beings. Homage worshipped by the all. Chakra Agni Paramaru, honored by the host of spirits. Costas is Gandhava Shaksh. Homage with their tray and pay sound, destroying for magic dark. Perfect person of that riding, blazing in a raging fireplace. Homage to a very dreadful, destroyer of Mara's champ. She will frown in lotus visage, who is slayer of all enemy. Homage at her heart of fingers, autumn hair with ritual mudra. Lyra's messes all excited, all directions was adorned. Homage she's a joyous radiant, crown and meeting garlands of Merful laughing Michitari, subjugating Mara's David. Homage able to summon all of guardians of them. Shaking, frowning with a home sign, saving from every misfortune. Homage crowned on with crescent, mineral anonymous shine. Amitabha in her hair not sending homage light eternal. Homage shimmered with a blaze like Eon any fire abide. Rush of flippant joy surrounds you, troops of enemies destroy. Homage she strikes the ground with her palm with the footbeats. Scowling with a letter home, the 7 levels she does conk. Homage happy virtuous peaceful, she is filled with savannah. Tegan dub with almonds so hard, destroyer of the great evil. Homage she rejoice surrounded, tearing first bodies the sun. Freeze with home and knowledge mantra, arrangement of the 10 letters. Homage to a received letter, of a shape is sealable. Diver stamping shakes the 3 worlds, mirror, mandara, and Vinja. Homage holding in a hand the hem up moon of Deva Lake. With just spoken Tara and Pei, totally dispelling poise. Homage here gods and their kins, and their kin is to honor. Amadino joyful splendor, she dispels her brazen conf. Homage is to us bright with radiance of sun and form, which was Hara and Tutare. She dispels the vacant age. Homage full of liberating power of his set to three nate. Distress holds his spirit's yakshas and raise supreme Ture. These praises with the mantras and prostrations thus are 21.
개원디 뉴드다 지존점 먼저 주는 로직 양말로 이살랑고 버쇼 당저 자파상 레야 람름 징기 토네 슈요레스 람름 징기 에피기 저저투디 라바숨드레스 수름기 라바 땡징기 라바 셰르브 라바 숨나니 단당한서 마 참로디 아니 땡인징기 라바 땡인좀 신이 줍줄 거티니 직수되고 그랬으라.
So Friday classes, we are usually discussing the middling stages of the Lamb, the path to enlightenment or the Lamb rim. So we're discussing specifically the three higher trainings, that of the higher training of contemplation, ethical discipline, contemplation, and wisdom. So where we've left off, we're actually discussing about the higher training of concentration, and specifically in relation to the topic of calm, abiding, or samatha.
인자 다 신이 슬라운디 쳤다 신이 세디 샘 시네스 시그니어스 아니 시그니로 벽에라서 시그니어다 인지도를 가리어나 아니 시네스 라운디 다 시세디 아니 직율 시한라파 아니 샘 육대디 아니 시험 참제니 율직 돌아봐 샘 네바텔이야 아니 신이스 적증이 딜라고라스라.
So when we mention the word abiding or shine in Tibetan, we can see that it's clearly two separate words. In the Tibetan, it's shi and ne, and in the English, it's actually calm, abiding. So focusing on these two specific words, then we can understand that we can see that it is the mind that is moving towards a particular object, and that mind is remaining or abiding single-pointedly on that single object. So this is what we can understand to be calm, abiding, or shine in Tibetan.
대들이다 간속이 라 성로 강타지 땅바이네야. 당간서 니체니 펜도 가리어세디. 라 간속 내가 가르쳐 봐이네야. 펜도 가리어세디. 저디 여여 버려왔어. 라 내가 가르치는 디디링아 출로는 펜도 가리어. 라 나을 대대나 펜도 가리어. 칼라드 세능알 가르팽그리. 가르뉴그리. 대체 여러다. 펜도 가리어세. 딩은줄이야. 가드는 제어여라다. 디리 진짜 안주 신이 디 다 드바움 공바스난다 신엘에 로테바스난다 라 디체니 당안줄이야. 나라야 펜도 가리어스. 라 님스나라야 펜도 가리어스. 데링알 가르팽그리스. 라 타두는 딘디로지랜다. 다 딘지 상당한디. 다 디글랜디 라 디글랜드라고 그랬잖아. 신이 안주 신이 곰니 알아야 펜도 가리어레스에게 데레 팽그리에스에게 랜디 따라고 그러스라
How are we to regard or think about this? We need to think about what is the benefit of practicing calm abiding or samatha. What is in general, we can think about, well, we can question what is the benefit that we get for whatever work that we're engaging in. We think about what's the benefit of if we've got some work that we need to do outside, or if we stay at home, what is the benefit? Or when we're eating food, then we can question, well, actually, what is the benefit of doing these activities? So in the same way, when we're approaching the practice of Kahamapati, we need to think about what is the benefit. What is the benefit for myself? What is the benefit for this life? What is the benefit of engaging in Kamapati today? So we need to look for an answer that is going to be fulfilling that goal of answering what is the benefit of this practice. We need to find that answer. That's it.
디디자다 디다 딜 랜드 야온디 랜디 안주다지 꼬라로 잔라고 그다스라 가스는 안주기 되된 거랑이야 대원 되고요 봐 랑은 상황이 지기겠다 산지기 추억을 싸워로디 딘디질에 두고다 안 상황이 대원 되고요 반사 대원 되고요 반사 동안 되고며 반사 다 대와 용 거야 동안 세 거야 디 아니 샘 비기 유일직라 봤더니 대투바이나 펜도 연거리스 로 카인스나 샘 마무지 샘라야 삼로 드라마더라 남도 드라마더 슉 체타 송바이나 망다 송바이나 아니 수보 로 수보디 마디바 차용 거라다 간지 샘 마기바 차용 거레스 로 아니 류 마디바 로 샘당 류님보다 하장 대화침보 샘다 류로 류디 류비기 다 쪼디 레버레도스요 류 쪼디 레버치 레버싱이디 오늘 파 제반나 짜장장 짜로 짜람 mambu 쇼스다 레벨이야 아니 류 짜용수 저버디 레벨이야 투데지 로 샘 가주스기 샘 mambu 남도 mambu 꼬라자바 디 저기 아니 다 서울한테 차고면 간지 레버 차오저를 차고 왔었다 레버디 비 아니 티워쇼 비즈쇼 차온디 아니 투인 거서 다 마기바 연구였어레스 된자 아니 샘디 가주스기 비기츠 아니 가서다 까네로 율직라바 때투바이나 디츠기 샘디 르르차야지 샘 르르차야지 윤거레스 샘 가주 레바이나 아니 지 그는 잉 삼파야라 소바 아니 르르차 아니 르르차야지 간지 대화 용야지 야지야다마 윤거였어레스 로 디톤다 신이 중에 간다지 바이나야 나마산지베 지구레마도스라 신이기 신이 드당콜이야 아니 신이기 세 통불레딩이 아니 베나 힌두 나로라 쇼여스라 난주 마타르콩 따지 이 신이기 콜 14부 쇼송이 힌두 줄로 찍으려도스라 그래서 쇼여다 간지 되서 참마기 아니 신이 드려야디 대화 용약 쳇 디난기 류드 샘니기 난기 샘기 되기 쳇도 신이 드고야다 세브레스라 딘자 소주기 샘야 가주즈기 신이 드부터 디즈기 샘데스 차냥부 데토야 로 아니 지금 나게 타도 콘롤라 소바 아니 지금 등엄라 소바 디게 로드파 지금 뇽 땅토야 디 가주기 뇽뇽 여비 미디 라야 샘레야 시디 마용기 어레스 디송글도스라
The Hindu chulute kozo shire gyabgi yorebe.
힌두가 배마부치고라.
Shire gom gyabgi yorebe.
제
Lasula. Okay. So we need to look around. We need to investigate in order to find the answer to this question. Yeah. So in general, we all have the main motivation or intention to find and experience happiness and avoid suffering. All people are the same in this intention. Yeah. So of course, we need to find a method in order to increase one's happiness. So if we use the method that focuses the mind on a single object or holds the mind on a single object, then we can learn to reduce those strong conceptualizations or thoughts, and then we'll be able to experience a greater sense of peace and happiness. So whereas if we, in general, if we have a lot of mental conceptualizations, a lot of thoughts going around and they become too strong and too overwhelming, then even our body is affected. Our body becomes unwell and we experience physical discomfort, not only that mental unhappiness, but also the physical discomfort. And that is due to the strong connection that the body and mind has. Yeah. So specifically in terms of speaking from the physical aspect, then we discuss about the brain mostly. Yeah. So the brain itself has got a lot of neural pathways and a lot of nerves, and that is also very strongly connected with the mental conceptualization. Yeah. So then really thinking about the number of thoughts and feelings that are experienced within the mental side of things, we become very sort of physically or mentally hot, or very busy mental business is occurring. Yeah. So that really directly affects our mental well-being and mental unhappiness or happiness. Yeah. So whereas, however much someone is able to hold their mind, allow their mind to remain on a single object, then that much that person will be able to experience a more relaxed and peaceful feeling. Yeah, if they're able to hold their mind on that single object. So and for sure, then it'll be more likely to experience a relaxed sensation. So this is not only mentioned from the Buddha and within Buddhism. For example, there are many other traditions, such as Hinduism, that to speak of the practice of meditation, and in particular, the practice of calm abiding or samatha. And Hinduism was something that was flourishing before the Buddha Dharma was taught by the Buddha. So there are many traditions that do speak of generating mental happiness on the basis of focusing one's mind. So you can see that however much one is able to focus their mind, then that much they'll be able to reduce their afflictive and disturbing emotions, such as anger, attachment, hatred, jealousy, and competitiveness. So all of these disturbing emotions that sort of disturb or confuse one's mind will be reduced due to the fact that one is going to be focusing one's mind on a single object. So however much one is experiencing a decrease or reduction in those disturbing emotions, then that much one will be able to experience a level of mental peace. That's all.
Tadini tasem yulchigla tene ro tashine gomsak yul shenla pa droya kane yulchigla tene ro semne gore islam semne sagi yulchig shago ros tadya yul mandra mambo ro ngazulaya ta yul mandra mambo yanza yul kawala ya sem shana ro pendo che yo tian song dang go jiren dos ro yulchigla mashana 아니 양 샘랍 샘 samlo kaya mateni deyagi 아니 탑시딘디 다 용구였어레스 디기야 폭장 림불라야 아니 소스 샘라야 샘 교탄투야 조당한 조데 추 넘버 산지비 추기 곰갸야 조디 란규기 샘기 미시비 몽바 로 미시비 몽바 몽발라 때니 아니 비게 지 착당 숙심 보게돼야 로 율직래야 하장 아니 착신 첨보다 율직래야 하장 당원게돼야 베기 통주래야 하장 그 참만이 번 통돼야 디 착당 걸로 숙심 온디게 아니 수술 내가 가르쳐 봐야냐 지 아니 촉수홍 대학 내가 좀 뭐도 지 참말이야 자님 그 내가 치마투에 용해라 써봐 디가시게도 연구 열어서 그래서 딜이야 네투고 말이스 딜이야 네투고 말이스 베나 가야 유 가야 섬로마다 와나 딜 네투고 말이스 다지 참말이야 안 참말게 대원대보다 동감은데 지기 만나신게 참말이야 대기 용야게 아니 지 내가 쳐야다 참미기 아니 지 동아세야기 탑름 준 투야기 쳐도 아니 랑기 샘디 차념 거야. 랑기 샘디 마 아니 시디 용 거야. 딩자 유 개천질이야. 유 개체사질이야. 샘디 된 대바이나다 텔이야 곰 세고레스. 곰 야야 쪼디 테레샤스.
We need to hold a single object with our own mind, yeah? Remain focused on a single object. So in general, when we speak of focusing our mind, we can choose any type of object. But in this case, we need to think about the type of object that is going to be of most benefit, yeah, at this time during our meditation. So we need to think about which will be of greater benefit, the object that we're going to think about or focus on. So, but in general, we can think about the fact is that there are methods, it's possible that there are methods or techniques that suggest that not thinking at all, not just not focusing on an object, but not conceptualizing or thinking at all is a good or useful method. So if we actually think about this, not thinking at all is not going to be of any help to transform our own minds. Yeah. So the Buddha Dharma or the teachings of the Buddha are actually talking about the mental darkness or confusion of unknowing, yeah, which we understand as the ignorance, yeah. So if we think about the fact that if we use a technique that is not thinking or not going to be conceptualizing at all, then it's not going to be removing this mental confusion of unknowing. So in Buddhism, on this basis, we talk about on the basis of the confusion of unknowing, then we develop very strong biases based on our attachments, yeah? And we are not in a position to develop any equanimity in relation to any object due to our biases that is generated by our strong attachment. So, and based on that strong attachment and that biased frame of mind, whatever activity or work that we engage in, it's going to be of a biased nature. Yeah. So if we think about the method that is not that is not using any conceptualization or no thought, then this is really not going to be harming or removing these biased minds. Yeah. So this is really not going to be a effective method to remove these things, and therefore it's not going to be a method to remove those things that make us unhappy, and also it's not going to build up or benefit those things that do make us happy. So we need to focus our minds in an equal or an equanimous way without any biases there. So on this basis, we're able to see that the most beneficial methods in order to do this is the practice of meditation. So,
그래서 더 율키치셨지. 율키 아니 제슈디 가르레세야. 디시온디 더 조디 넬루생. 넬루레야. 넬루레야 셈테 투바나. 테니 넬루라 몽비게 몽바티 세요레스. 라. 더 넬루 가르레스레. 라. 넬루라야 타라마부 용데야. 라 넬루 슬라운디 무요네술. 무요네술 대야 그 타라마부 용데야. 차시드 시야온데 동반이세야 디코티 시고라다. 다 라바디페나 넬루 라바디 시야바나 먼저 뒤제 탐지 못딱 버려야지. 그러 뒤제 탐지 못딱 버려야지. 아니 동반이라 되비게 아니 뒤제 넬루 못딱 버티 아니 라바레스. 이네 간주 상로 마다마 카둘라 못딱 버티야 간주라야 아니 참모 꼭줄 차대야로. 그러 대인자 당 간주 베나 넬루 못딱 비톨라야 아니 상로지 따네 못딱 버치 공바이나 야자 야다만 간주 삼라야 아니 그 깨지니 규비 랑신 임바지 아니 삼라야 라트야지 용구여레스 그 디릭비 두쳐거레스 딜레온디 딘디기 깨지긴 규비 랑신 임바 텔야 샘직 때투바나 아니 디 저기 간주 샘기 는 땅지 규도 싸우니니 지금 규도 용야 매봤다고 지금 먼저 님을 지금 나시 진짜 뺀 내가 치고다 산이대야 나니대 로제마기 디제마기 배 내가 대샤샤로 진로 먼저 메시지 지금 림부지 여샤샤 체제네 메시지 디기체도 깔리빼만 오자고 알았어 이나야 먼저 니바 싸우니니 먼저 왔어 먼저 다 치워 용거야 돼 아니 끼니 단다 버든 잠블린다나라 미끼니 심문종인지 수칸 잠블리 차는 달로 아니 동자망부 범자망부 레디니 데린라야 아니 미수직 끼니 건전데 있는다 빵고 있는다 가리나 대투겨 말아 마두야 디고 아니 끼니 치고야 디고 그 넬루긴자 춘이인자 디그려왔어 다 디간주 샘레지 라지 쳐봐나 야자 야다마 텔레파비게 간줄이야 샘레야 디기 칸나 간주지 라고서레스로 간주 요종 카둘이야 강가마부 쇼치 로 샘나는 요메 와타오지 아니 삼로타 아니 피기 요코런 요종디 요요로다 샘기 삼로타와니디 라마투디 테니 샘 축도도스로
So we need to consider about what is the very best object of our focus on while conducting our meditation. Yeah. So that best object is actually the focusing on the true nature of reality. Yeah. So since we possess confusion in relation to the actual nature of reality, how reality actually exists. By focusing our meditation on the object that is its opposite, then we'll be able to remove this sense of confusion about the true nature of reality. So when we discuss about what is the true nature of reality, we can understand it in a variety of degrees of subtlety. So we can think about the most subtle level of the true nature of reality is the empty nature of that true nature of reality. But if you think from the gross or the grosser level perspective, then we can think about the impermanent nature of all phenomena. So this is what we understand as being the gross level or the gross level, is that all phenomena are in the nature of impermanence and change. Yeah. Whereas if we do not consider or reflect about it, then we know that impermanence is actually what is classified as a hidden phenomena, something that needs analysis to understand. So when we take this as our object of meditation, we can look and examine the nature, the impermanent nature of phenomena to be undergoing this momentary change. Yeah. So we can, using our own investigation, we can use logic and prove to ourselves this impermanent, momentary changing nature of all phenomena. So we can use this as a way to focus our mind. So then when we investigate and using this logic, that sense of permanence is actually going to be destabilized, because without analyzing, we usually have this very strong sense of permanence about ourselves and our life in general on a daily basis, day to day. We have a sense of permanence and the unchanging nature. Yeah. So we have this feeling that we're going to remain for a very long time. Yeah. So, but really, just for the mere reason that we are born, we're inherently going to be experiencing death and dying at some stage. So within our world, there are among the hundreds of millions and thousands of people that have been born, to this day, there is no one that has actually not died. Yeah. So we can very easily prove to ourselves that one day we're going to have a experience of death and dying. So, and that time is not fixed at all. So in this way, we can prove to ourselves, yeah, we can prove to ourselves that our nature and the nature of all phenomena are all impermanent. And then on this basis, we can actually develop a sense of contentedness and happiness. So by realizing, understanding that even though we do have a sense of permanence, then we actually, if we don't reflect about it well, when we see an object that is impermanent, but then if we haven't reflected that it is broken, then we actually get very upset about this. It's actually even a bit of a shock. So this is the purpose of reflecting on the impermanence. That's it.
Terda ta medaba ko bena medaba gom ko reslavana medaba gomya di medaba gyutsu tolya ani semteba na ta medaba gombare ro tan gyuatilya gyur ragba pen tu gyur doch imba na nganzo lochilya dawachuni di ya ta nganzo ta lomba mambulya tu shiro ji shargorada Tushiro, Yarka, Gunka, Chika, Yankase.
That's it.
Tiko, Tingyua Ragba Shujrata. Mus Tongora Pigi, Sishingi Tipe, any Yakiada, Mark Amdrayala Sobata, 아니 지 간지 아니 교와라고 쇼치 디고 가도 있는 교도야지 마도 땡도 자원이 대통 말았어 그냥 안 되발라 있나다 아니 퇴근 교와디 이야군 교와디 꼭 가도 있는 레데가 넣었어 등한도 통돼야지 근데 더 싸운다면 kun yuwi rangshin jin bachi mingyur ni gyuwa mundro ni tuyu kama chigya karcha chigya zawani degi me bachi da di su jar na susu la jar bayna pena susu lu de la jar bayna nganzu pongbo di katsu sun gyo dogo ra tanda nganzu dina yongi mang chiya di lobe na shibchu ngabchu kong la ane lo shin shin, bogu shin shin, ni jo be yara tangan sama ta tanda ane nga nan shin ki ane tradinya kawo cha ane don la ya nyema mambo cha di nima chi kin gyo zao ni ma ra wasra ti pi ane karcha ki toni gyur ni rosha jira da ti gyo jira tinsan gyur ba degre ma do gyuwi rangshin jin degre ma do mungyur ni karcha chi dego ma ta dindi chin gyur ni le bara tinsan gyur ni ta gyuwi tamadile ya gyo chimbu di lusam khathe ya chi kun gyo chimbu di ngura ta o dindi pardo samlo kaddu na samlo stamba na tangzing lo set takba tembo chin gyur bu deya ki lo di nyong drogres ro jaji jadam nyong kol nugres tel tembi tangzin la tembi ki chagdang lo ki chungro tie nyong drogres tel tembi ki ani chi ta le megewa le maronwa ro le maronwa chedi nyong drogres tel tembi ki ani di doso ta giwi chawa kanji gewasna che ronye chawa chedi ko rangshin ki yung res 라 제롬이 잡아들래야 개와세고래 제 모롬이 잡아들래야 미겨서 디용 아니 게디 빵랑기 냠네디야 다가를 때네 로 메다바 곰빌 올 때니 용기어레스
So, meditating on impermanence and taking that object as our meditation has the impermanence, we come to reflect about the mode or the nature of its changing. Yeah. So we can think about it in terms of a close example or a close example is that within in terms of time. So time is we can say is made up of 12 months. And within the 12 months, we have 4 different types of seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring. And during this time, we can see a very close level of that changing nature of our external environment. Yeah. So we can see directly with our own eyes that things during springtime are growing up, and then during the autumn winter times, then things are drying out and dying. So you can see very clearly just with our own eyes that there's this nature of change that is always going on and being undertaken. Yeah. So we can see that in relation to time. So this is necessarily, we can understand that all phenomena are going to have the nature of transformation and change. Yeah. So there's not even a instance of 1 minute or a second that phenomena are not undergoing this change. There's no instance where it's just remaining for 1 minute or 1 second. Yeah. So now if we think in terms of our own physical bodies, then this is also something that is undergoing change and transformation. So in terms for most of us, about maybe 40 or 50 years ago, we actually had a very, youthful body and we're even very beautiful. Yeah. So, but now these days, Geshe says that his hair is going white, and he can see very clearly that there is this transformation and change undergoing. So this didn't happen in just one day or overnight, yeah. But we can understand that this change is going and happening second by second, moment to moment. So we can see that the nature of change is the nature of phenomena is change on a momentary basis. And then finally, we have to experience what we call like a great change, yeah, or a great transformation when the body and mind separate. Yeah. So during this time, if we understand that body and mind separation is a gross level or a cause level of change. So if we reflect in this way, then about change and impermanence, then that'll be reducing very naturally, causing a reduction of our self-grasping attitude. Yeah. So in general, we think about, well, based on that reduction of that self-grasping attitude, then in turn, that'll be a cause for reducing our attachment. And on that basis, by reducing our attachment, we'll naturally be reducing, engaging in accumulating non-virtues or unsuitable activities. Yeah. So, and dependent on that, naturally will be moved to engage in virtuous activities and accumulate virtuous karma. Yeah. So here we think about the practice of abandoning the non-virtues, and naturally, in turn, we want to take up those virtuous activities. And this is the way the process goes. That's right.
나 진중 공라로 보고 진중 공라 뺀인지 보여스. 야,
So,
야말라고 하더래. 나 진중 공라 뺀인지 보여스. 간생 간좀 무슨 김제도 속에 키로 그랬어. 키로라서 콘즈
Kere, kubagabde.
키 고마스네 콘즈 뺀 샤자고 뺀인지 보여서 키로 그랬어.
So Geshe said that when he was young, he was very good looking. So he said that his brother said that his neighbors used to take Geshe home with him because he was so good looking and cute as a young child.
No,
Yeah, not now.
ring 콘즈가라 Smiley son call me
Smiley. So they
ringala dilago ngolago nga chuju kolaro kimdetuso kadina gemusho dingengi putlago tangala.
So Geshe said that his neighbors used to borrow him because he was the smiling son. He was always the young child that is always laughing and smiling.
단 kunjuwi rangshinza ni gyursin ta tanda dindirawa chikra tanda dindirawa cha yores ta di ku gyuwi rangshinza kun gyurdo ta di ngachibu marwas ro ngachibu mar tsam gyurgora ta di gyuwi yobati nganzu gyuwi rangshin bati totu bayna gyuwadya pet ani karchala yan gyurdo yobati totu bayna ratrabana ta di mataba tokba sati ro ta di nyamne yakshu chirta ro ta shemba khan chiyo ma ta chi ta di tola samdawa na di mataba tokbi loji kiwa ta di nyamne di tse tombu pe chago res ta di khar pengre sati ro ta di gi tangzin gi lo ro gyudog mebe tangzin ta susu tangzin ki wangi Tening anzulaya chagdangalo kigorda. Chagdangalo kin teni ani chuboshoyelo soboro. The mangbu shoes teni legorda. Tezu samanga rogores. Tezu samanga. The dela tembi. Ramadawa tobi lokiwala tembi. Susu semno yacha yadamba. Shidi pemasiva chimbulego saris.
So understanding this nature of change and that whole phenomena in the nature of change. So it's really not only Geshe or himself, he says, but we are all under this sway of undergoing the changing on a momentary basis. So if you're somebody that is actually able to realize this changing nature of whole phenomena, that we understand that it's impermanent and changing second by second, then we can generate the realization that is perceiving impermanence. So this is a realization that perceives impermanence. This is the best type of practice that we're able to achieve. So if we're able to generate this mind that is really realizing impermanence, then this is going to be the highest level of practice that we'll be able to accomplish. And this is going to really destabilize the self-grasping attitude or the mind that apprehends the self and holds on to that. So due to this mind that is apprehending that self, the self-grasping attitude, on that basis, anger, attachment, and all these disturbing emotions arise from. So if we're able to put a stop to this mind that is self-grasping, then we'll actually be able to realize a very deep sense of mental peace. So if we're able to develop the realization that understands impermanence, on this basis, we'll be able to cultivate a deep level of mental peace and happiness.
Terda dinza da medavi samlora medavi tolay lo shandu seondi ani gyurya dia kenji ton ro kenji ton gyurgo ken ya toya dia ko ani chunyi ba ro duji chunyi ba duje se de ko gyode kenla den chonyi ba gyode kenla den gyurgo ba te kon duje ge ranshin res ro dinza di samlo diya ba na 수수 메세나모 야시자단 팽거스레스 빼노 사상도 진바나 더 망치야데 사상용이로 사상 냠든 뒤야디야 유겐지기 돈은 뒤버러스 유겐지기 돈은 tre버러스 사상 때디 요즘부 로 수수 메세 코란라 요즘부 요마레 안디 냠도 돼야데 아니 요즘부 용우 마러스 다 데비 린라야 냠도 데비 린라야 기부진 대고 삼성치 라 디 삼당 쳐도스 라 데비 린라야 기부진 대야게 탑람 약슈디 찍찍래야 아니 90치야 소바고미야티 게 수수 로봇들이야 아니 코랑 뭐랑 아니 수 가르기 콘드로 세바이나야 수수 파 소바고마이나 디기 수수 샘컴라 팽그레스 파쇼 말아야 팽그레스 디 저기 수수 링컴라야 팽그레스 아니 수수 대기라야 팽그레스라 미 파쇼 말아야 소복곰니 수수라 경라샤지 싸우니네 라 오늘 자네기 수수 샘 콘트롤텔레폰 뇌슈지 때도바나 디기 수수라야 팽야마도 뇌야지 싸우니네 연구여서 말했어 먼저 저보고면서라디 경계해야 되면서 경계해야 마인바 소수 샘 축도야 디파 아니 컨트롤치야 로 가야 되는다서 디까바이나 가도있는 컨트롤사가 말했어 컨트롤사는 소수 여기야 봐디 통인 거랬어 라 컨트롤사원디 소수 비기 동가 남겨 로드와 남기 인지부 제와나야 동 캔자 차드야 아디 연구도 하서라 간지 아니 변나 탁시에 남파줘야 더들리 용거라서 뒤 사운드안으로 메다비 돌아야 샘 샤시니 템버디 메다발이야 샤니 템버 니와 샤야디 땀 메다발신 두 신는 줘봐이나 아니 메시지 피키 우차고 와서레스로
So we have the thoughts about understanding impermanence and that the nature of phenomena are undergoing change. But this change is actually due to specific conditions, yeah? So depending on conditions, the nature of reality of all compounded phenomena are going to be undergoing change due to conditions. They arise from causes and conditions. So due to this nature, all compounded phenomena are actually undergoing this change and transformation. So if we think about the benefit that we will derive from reflecting about impermanence, if we take, for example, those with families and living within family, most people do have families, then if we reflect about that due to certain causes and conditions, then the families come together. And really, that family having come together, they will not remain together for that long, really. So if we think about during the time that we are together as a family, if due to having come together from causes and conditions, then during that time, we need to see if we can remain in a happy and a harmonious way. Yeah? So usually we think of a happy family in terms of practicing respect and patience for one another. So even when difficult situations arise and there's angry things exchanged, then if we're able to practice patience at the time of that difficult situation, then that practice of patience, it is said that there's no fault in the practice of practicing patience at all, but only there's going to be a benefit to yourself, your physical and mental happiness. But if you practice patience in the face of the other person, then there's really not going to be any harm whatsoever if we're practicing patience in the face of the angry other person. Yeah. So we can see that there is really no fault to practicing patience and that there's really only a benefit of practicing patience. So then on this basis, we can think about, well, if we actually did generate anger, even somebody with a beautiful or a appealing form, when they get angry, they become very unappealing. Yeah. Whereas if we practice patience and recall and be mindful of impermanence, then these two practices of recalling recalling impermanence and patience, then really our entire life will become a lot more happier. That's it.
대다 딘디기 로디 여바이나 로 변나단 제타 규위 랑시 로 비기 뒤깨지마 찍려야 마데는 규조 여바 내루 던지지 토라야 소소 내여바 통온디 다 대단 튠비 대단 삼비게 상로 가르다는 거고도 내가 가르치고 거고도 대 연구여서래서 단 유ranjin 임바 대단 튠비게 내가 제도가나 다디 내가 디 개와차그레스 야지자담바 간선 공무유 그 내루던 튠비게 내가 차그러 무유 내주던 튠비게 내가 임바나 디 장부생이 차고레스 무윤에서도 튼비기 내가 지금 봤나 장부 인바이나 제롱와드레스 무윤에서도 멘텐바지 인바이나 제 무롱와레 제 무롱와이나 미기와 제 무롱와 레 마롱와드 차기도 왔어
So, if you are somebody that has reflected well and has developed a deep understanding of the true impermanent nature of reality, that naturally reality is impermanent and undergoing change, then we'll be able to actually act or engage in activities and develop thoughts that are in accord with that reality and that true nature. Yeah. So, and on that basis, we are developing a thoughts that are in accord with that nature. We're able to engage in activities that are also in accord with that nature, impermanent nature of reality. So, whatever works or activities that you're engaging in with this mind that is in accord with reality, then whatever those works are or activities are going to be having a virtuous nature. Yeah. So, on this basis, we're actually able to engage in honest activities because they are actually on the basis of knowing the true nature of reality that is impermanent. Yeah. So, on this basis of engaging in honest works and wholesome works, then whatever we engage in is going to be suitable, yeah, or appropriate. So, whereas if we think on the other hand, if we don't investigate deeply, then our thoughts are not going to be in accord with the changing nature of reality. Therefore, our activities are not going to be in accord with that reality. And then on that basis, those activities are going to be generating non-virtuous karma. Yeah. So if we engage in those non-virtuous activities, then we're going to be accumulating that non-virtuous karma. That's it.
pena sangi nganzulaya domba nangbare was Tsultrim glaba set Tsultrim songkore set Tsultrim nan da zu dipena megijubong Tsultrim songkore set megijubong Tsultrim siondi sokje rungu mares titsik dipe keba dosra sokje chogu mares da sokje rungu mares tsik dela petsik chebana dele keba be chimbu yores 다 인지도가 감지 규례면로 디 세우지 규례는 배우도 가서나 산기기 비기 송나물이야 그냥 속지 초고 말했어야 식디 싸우니요 말했어 속지 롱고 말했어야
롱기래.
롱고 말했어
나.
롱고 말했어
저기 바래. 저기 랍기배.
러브요 말했다
레라스.
롱고 말했어
라스. So, for example, the Buddha Shakyamuni in this frame gave the teachings on the ethical discipline. Yeah. So, in particular, he gave vows that are related to the trainings in ethical discipline. So, for example, we can speak in terms of refraining from the 10 non-virtuous actions. Yeah. So, those 10 non-virtuous actions, the first of those is that to refrain from killing. So, actually, in the Tibetan language, the refraining from killing or not allowed to or is unsuitable to kill, it actually in the Tibetan language carries a lot of weight. In English, or not, if they're not allowed or unsuitable, if that carries the same meaning or not. Geshe doesn't know. But Geshe would like to distinguish that in the Tibetan, it is actually not suitable to practice killing. Whereas if we say that you're not allowed to practice killing, there is a difference in emphasis. Yeah. So this is what Geshe would like to highlight, that it's not suitable carries a very stronger weight, yeah, as opposed to the not allowed to. That's it.
다 무롱야 가르스나 무롱야 가르스나 초직니 디긴 중질이야 소소라야 동안용고야지 ngang kia la so chik yung yo res ta di yan chok chik ni changbu chag yo ma res ta zo di sanji gi chö di changbu che go ya janyam che go ya di zo song go da sra di za changbu chag yo ma res sok che ya di sheng gu sok che ya di changbu ma res kansna rang nan shing gi devan de gu yo ba ta 동안 되고 뭐 찍바로 와서 그래서 랑기 되기 체도 셴라 동아 때바이나 장부 참아서 쓰라 그래서 롱고 말했어
Speaking in terms of not being suitable to kill or engage in activities of taking life. So from one perspective, we can think that that person that engages in the practice of killing, they're going to be experiencing suffering as a result by going to lower realms in the future, for example. And secondly, we can think that that conduct is actually not upstanding or is not very honest in any way whatsoever. Because the fact is that if somebody has taken the life of another, that other person is somebody in the same way that you do. It's only wishing to experience happiness, but you have taken that and given them suffering instead, then this activity is really very dishonest and really not upstanding. Yeah. So you can see that having given suffering to somebody that is only wishing for looking for happiness, then this is really something that is not suitable.
terdiza 소수 샘라 느비기 칙칙시에바이나 자원이니 기분문도 왔어 되버요 말았어 대난신기 소수기 아니 소수기 샘컴다 가서다 소수 샘라야 칙 네바드 마스니 싱기 샘라야 느비기 칙 땜바이나 게제시에바이나 디야 장부차고 말았어 소술라 내나 문제가 나지 파셔면 내나야 되버요 말았어 진짜 두 상담들어 출좀 생긴디 장부 그 남가 원에디 수좀 도는 로고다스라 당아서 장부 제고거라다 그럼 미술라 게제트나 장부 제고를 고 말슬라와나 장부 제고도 고슬라고 말도 장부 제고요 말스 라와나 디 미디 장부 말았어 다 장부 제고나 장부 간다서 제고를 슬라와나 티다 당원의 장부 디마 밤나 아니 미기 좀 수정 도는 줘야 제일 장지 로 싸우니다 이어서 말했어 로
So if we speak harshly towards another person, we know that from our own side that we do not want to hear or experience harsh words. Whereas if we speak harshly to another in the same way that they do not want to hear or experience harsh words, then we actually are acting in a very dishonest way, because we even though we know that the other person doesn't want to experience that, but even still we give that harsh speech, for example, to the other person, that really this is a very dishonest way to go about. So we can see that, so we can take that in terms of our speech and other physical actions and so forth, and take that as the refraining from the those activities, and we can take that as our path of ethical discipline. So really, we can think of this ethical discipline as a path of honesty, or a path of upstanding behavior. Yeah. So if you actually question somebody and you ask them, well, is it good to be honest or not? So, of course, they're going to answer, well, of course, it's good to be honest and practice honestly. Yeah. So, really, how are we to be honest or upstanding by practicing ethical discipline? So, it's really can be summarized in the 10 non-virtuous in relation to the 10 non-virtuous activities and refraining from them. So we can see that this is really, there's no better method than the refraining from the 10 non-virtuous actions in order to be an honest person.
Surely.
Do you have any questions? Are there any questions
Do you have
online?
questions?
And anyone online is welcome to ask a
Yine bir
question.
delişagoda. Delişago.
That's it. So if there aren't any questions, then we can leave it here for today.
Working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best to complete greater parts of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion. In whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this greater path to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing their excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives in the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.